this as a chatty video because I wanted to do that, and yeah, that's about it, honestly. It's not one of the memes, it's not one of the funnies, it's not me trying to do makeup, it's just me doing my thing and chatting. As I'm filming this, we're at the tail end of October. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but on Instagram specifically, a lot of like art pages do a thing called Inktober. Basically, you just have a drawing prompt for every day of the month in October. I did the Sad Ghost Club's Thinktober. The company itself and the Instagram page and all that, they have a focus on mental health, which I can appreciate and get on board with. I just saw it as an opportunity to talk about mental health stuff and I guess share my experiences with certain things, and that's really all there is to it. It was a pretty good thing to do, especially this month, because it has been a time. Obviously, I didn't... Go away, fly. Everything's falling. It's fallen to pieces. Look at this. That's a fly. Look at that. What is he doing? Excuse me? No. Obviously, I didn't anticipate the events that went down this month to happen. And I didn't anticipate it to be this stressful and just kind of, The two things that happened that were not exactly the best situations ever was, one, I was on the tail end of my uni semester. When it starts getting close to the end, you're like, holy fuck, all this procrastinating that I've done for the first 8 weeks is catching up on me. And then the big old whammy was my dad had a stroke. And that was a hard time on the family. If anything, I saw doing these drawings as a coping mechanism because quite frankly, I could have fucking spiraled this month, like really fucking bad. And I didn't, and I'm pretty proud of that, honestly. All I'm really gonna do is go through the drawings that I did and just talk about them, because even though they have fucking huge captions and shit, I like opportunities to talk about mental health. If you want to follow along and read the captions and shit that I did with my drawings, you can check me out at a crafty dude dealia. In the prompt Ghost, I drew myself and Ghost me. The way I see it is I'm considering my former self as a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. When I consider where I was, even just say like 3 months ago, compared to now, I think I'm a pretty different person. I'm still Delia, but the way I think certainly changes, especially in regard to how I'm handling my mental health. I see my former self as, you know, maybe they weren't so great, but the experiences that former Delia had has helped present Delia be present Delia. I think it's worth acknowledging your ghost, your former self, because experiences help shape you. I'll just say this now, like with my dad having a stroke, he was in hospital for a couple weeks, all of October pretty much. At the start of doing Thinktober, that was like near the start, that was near the start of that happening. So it was a lot to take on initially. The second day was how I'm feeling. At that point, I was just so fucking tired. The whole thing behind that is I only use the colors that I use in my like mood tracker thing. Each color is a different mood. Looking at the chart, on the chart, the black squares are pretty much days where the black square days are basically days where I am either feeling suicidal, I want to kill myself, or I've tried to kill myself. Holy fucking Jesus Christ, what the fuck? What am I talking about? Killing myself. That's I'm laughing about it, but it's fucking serious. It is a serious thing, and not a great thing. Last month and all of October, I don't think I've had a black square day. And I'm proud of that. I'm really proud of that. I don't know, looking at it now, it's like, even if those thoughts do come up, which they do, they still do come up. They haven't just floated away. I feel that I'm in a better space where I can look at it and be like, I don't really want to die. Quite frankly, I don't want to die. I want to give life a chance, because have I really given life a chance at this point? No. There's plenty of cool things that I still want to do, and I haven't really gotten the chance to experience it, and yeah. I don't particularly remember these early days so much, so I'm just kind of going off of what the caption says. I'm going to assume it wasn't a great day on day 3 because I drew a shitstorm. It was a shitstorm that had already happened and I was already covered in shit. There's not really much to go off of that other than, you know, what the caption says, which is, even though it feels like the shitstorm's already happened, at least I've learned for next time that if there's a shitstorm imminent, I can bring an umbrella and maybe I'll be a bit less stinky. That's all I got. For loneliness, I drew myself in a box of loneliness. If I found myself going into a depressive episode, I'd isolate myself and I'd be like, no, I am not getting around people. And I'd make myself feel lonely. When I'm isolating myself, I'm alone. And because I'm alone, I'm feeling lonely. And because I'm feeling lonely, I'm not recognizing that as it being because I'm isolating myself. I'm seeing it as people just don't want to be around me. The way I put it was, more often than not, I'd put myself in this little box of loneliness, but it's just a fucking box. It's a cardboard box. I am not the strongest person in the world, nor am I the biggest person in the world, but I think I can take on a cardboard box, but I would still sit in that cardboard box. I see being alone and being lonely as different things, and I don't know, if you're lonely, you've got the company of yourself, which sometimes isn't the best company, but it's company. I don't know. I don't like how this video is going. I'm not feeling my best about it. But the show goes on. Next drawing. Skip day 5. Day 5 was something positive. I wasn't feeling something positive that day. I was just feeling like shit and probably really tired. I didn't draw something positive. And that's all there is to that. So I drew a heart and a brain. I put it in the context of strength and resilience, which I think in ways can go hand in hand. The fact of the matter is, even if you don't feel like you are the strongest person in the world, if you're going through shit and you've made it here today, that's important and that's good. And that is something to be proud of. Don't let people fucking drag you down because of that shit. If you've made it to where you are today and you've gone through hardships, which I'm sure many of us have, and you've pulled through, then you are a fucking superstar. Day 7, I decided I was gonna fuck around with a new art style. There wasn't really a huge thing I could write about the Day 7 prompt. The way I put it in the caption though was, because it's space, it's fucking endless, it doesn't stop, and in a way that's the same with the thoughts in my head. There are times where it just will not stop. I can either be fucking miserable and be like, holy shit, my thoughts are never ending, and I can get existential with it and be like, holy fuck, the, space is fucking ongoing and it doesn't stop. And that is really scary because I am fucking tiny in comparison to space. Or I can just be like, you know what? It is how it is. Embrace it. If it's gonna happen, I can't change it sometimes. In this one, I drew it as mountains. The ambitions that I have are mountains that I need to climb. They're big mountains in comparison to me, but it's doable. These ambitions that I want are things that I want. I'm gonna put in the work to climb that damn mountain and get that shit because I want to. It'll take time for sure because some mountains are bigger than others and some mountains are fucking harder to climb than others, and that's okay, because when you hit the peak of that mountain, it'll be good. The stuff in the picture frames essentially represents shit that has kind of contributed to where I am today. In one of the picture frames, you've got a sad face, got depressed, I'm a depresso little lady. It's affected me a lot throughout life, and it's where we are. You've got an Xbox controller. That's just mainly because gaming has been a fucking massive part of my life. It's helped me through a lot of ruts. You've got a picture frame with just like all this little artsy stuff. I consider myself a fairly creative person, and that's largely been a part of how I've coped with stuff and expressed myself. On the other side, you've got a little razor blade thing in a tattoo machine. There's been scars and I have covered up some of those scars with tattoos. That's all I'll say about that one. Above that one, you've got another really iffy one. You've got a shitty drawing of a rope, quite frankly. A shitty drawing of a rope, you've got pills. There's been times where I've felt so bad that I have either wanted to kill myself or have tried to kill myself. And there are experiences I've had. The way I see it is it's worth acknowledging what I've done and how I've done things and how I've handled things. From there, I can see what works and what's good for me versus what's not. I don't think any of that stuff in particular makes me, but it certainly does contribute to how I perceive things and how I see things and how I experience things. I've got like the one blank frame, which is basically just a space. It says space reserved for my future. Because those experiences aren't the only things that I've had, and they're not going to be the only things that I experience. There are many things that are going to happen throughout life, and so leave some empty photo frames for it, because there's going to be good things, there's going to be bad things, there's going to be things. That one was a very long-winded one. There's a lot to dive into with that one. Skipped hopeful. I just don't think I was feeling motivated and particularly inspired by that one, so I didn't really do anything. Fear of the unknown. There isn't exactly a way to know the unknown. You can absolutely better understand specific variables and you can try to control certain things in situations, but there are many cases where what is going to happen is going to be completely unknown and completely different to whatever you think. Yes, that can be fucking scary. It can be terrifying to be like, holy shit, I don't know what's going to happen in situation A, B, C, especially with anxiety. It can have serious effects on you. You try to reduce the risk of any bad shit happening because of the unknown, but the thing with the unknown is, yeah, bad shit can come from it, but good shit can also come from it. When you're in such an anxious headspace, you only really want to see, not really want to, but you only really focus on the negative stuff that could happen or, will happen. I guess at the end of the day, it's like, if we don't know what's going to happen, then we don't know what's going to happen, and you can be scared of it, or you can just be like, you know what? Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I know with a lot of this stuff, what I'm saying is like a lot easier said than done, because there's no way to make definitive statements about any of this. It's all like a fucking massive grey area. Goals can be big, goals can be small. Now there's an ant on my screen. Nature, stop it. Big goals that are more long-term can be good because it can help you decide which direction you want to head in. Small goals can also be very good to help you get through the day. I know for me personally, especially on days where I don't feel like I've achieved anything, if I had small goals set up, like really fucking simple goals, which is sometimes all you need. If I had those goals set up, maybe I would have felt a bit better about myself. Like sometimes you can have big ambitious goals, like today I'm gonna fucking conquer world hunger. If you're experiencing a mental health problem, some days it can just be like, okay, my goal is to just get out of bed and eat something today. It's important to recognize the effort that you put in, because some days you're more able to put in, huge amounts of effort. Some days you don't really feel like you can, and that's fine. Goal setting is something I need to get better at doing. If I'm doing certain things, I might set small goals in my head from there. So like, if I'm working on my assignment and I'm getting overwhelmed and stressed out, I'm just like, okay, my goal is to write X amount of sentences or do this specific thing, and just like make it little goals so that it feels more achievable. If you're looking at a mountain, it can seem big, but if you take a step back, maybe that mountain isn't so big and you can do it. I wasn't feeling particularly inspired by that one. The way I guess I saw that one is I can be a bit of a people pleaser at times, and there are absolutely times where I just want to be like, I just want to help people. The thing with helping people is you can't really help anyone unless you've helped yourself first. If you're going into trying to help someone and you're not in the best space yourself, are you really going to be providing the best support you can offer? No. Give yourself the support you need first. Maybe in some cases people see that as selfish, but it's important to recognize your own needs. Productivity, yeah, that was a stress day. I just was getting in my head where I was like, okay, I need to be productive. But then because I was being I need to be productive. I wasn't being productive, and because I wasn't being productive, I was procrastinating because I didn't like feeling bad. But then procrastinating made me feel bad, and it was a clusterfuck. Being productive doesn't necessarily have to be work-related things. Being productive can be self-related things. It's important to set yourself up for, to win, not for failure. I didn't exactly do that on that day, and it didn't make me feel great, so. Some days, it's just a matter of making it through the day. Some days feel fucking tough, but if you made it through the day and it's been a tough one, then that's something. Even if you gave up on the day, you still made it through, and that's important. You always get tomorrow. Tomorrow is a second chance. Day 16 I dedicated to my friend Liz. My dad had a stroke, and that was a rough time, and so I kind of relied on my friends for support. I'm very appreciative of the people that I have in my life. I am just very thankful to have people in my life that care.
Editor Delia here. I just wanted to say another thing about that drawing. I put myself in the middle because, one, it's my friends that I'm surrounded by. But in saying that, I also think that at the time I was trying to think of myself as my own friend and trying to treat myself as my own friend. I tend to treat myself badly, especially when I'm in a bad headspace. If my friends were in a bad headspace, I wouldn't want to treat them badly, so I just think it was important to think of it like that too, to think of myself as my own friend. And yeah, back to it.
Conversation, yeah, this was a rough day from what I recall. I'm not going to go too into detail about the situation that inspired this drawing, but it was a case where people were just arguing and they weren't talking and having conversations. And the thing with arguing is, yeah, it'll get emotions out, but where's it going to get you? Ultimately nowhere. Everyone's just going to end up fucking resenting each other. I think it's important to try and reframe things to be conversations. Yes, it can be difficult at times because, like, we're human, we're prone to emotions, and especially when it's in high emotion arousal situations, it can be fucking difficult to keep it cool. It doesn't feel great to be in arguments. It doesn't feel great to be on the butt of an argument. It doesn't feel great to have people project onto you. And I'm not saying any of this stuff as if I'm a fucking perfect person, because I'm not. I fuck up. But when there are times where a person is mad at another person and they just take that out on you instead, it doesn't feel good. I don't like conflict. I'm a fucking little bitch when it comes to conflict because I fucking hate it. I don't like thinking people are upset with me or mad at me, and I've gotten better with caring a bit less about what people think about me. At the end of the day, I still don't particularly like people not, having negative thoughts about me, because I want to try and be positive in people's days. Day 18, I was memeing just a little bit. This is like one of those game shows, and the meme of Gogom regarding how I should express my emotions. For me, all of those options at some point or another have been an option. Some are better than others. The thing with the bad options is they're still options, but they're just not great. A lot of the bad options they're the easier option to pick, but they're not the better option to pick. I just think it's important to try and find ways to express how you're feeling in healthy ways. Isolation kind of goes with loneliness. They can kind of go together. When I got ideas in my head, I would isolate myself, thinking that was the best thing to do. I would be like, nope, I'm fucking awful, and because I'm so fucking awful and terrible and the worst, I need to hide myself away from people because that is what I deserve and society doesn't need me. I am not the best person to myself sometimes, so that's why I need to work on being my own friend and treating myself like a friend. It's not good to feel like you're a bother, but it's not good to feel like you're fucking nothing too. I didn't have a drawing, but I can still talk about it. Sometimes it can be difficult to try and help yourself and be your own support. It's important to recognize when you're in need of support. Instead of going down a fucking spiral, you can try to bring yourself back upwards. At times, as scary as it can be, that can be reaching out. Whether that's reaching out to a friend, family, a stranger, helplines, whatever. Sometimes you need the support of others because it can be a lot to take shit on yourself. It's okay to reach out. I wasn't feeling the most creative with this one. They say sharing is caring, and while yes, sharing is caring, it's also nice to keep a bit for yourself. If you get a cake, you buy the cake and you want a slice of the cake, but you give your slices of cake to everybody else and you have no cake for yourself, then that leaves you cakeless, and that's no good. You gotta, you before others. Some people may see it as a selfish way of thinking, and in ways it can be, absolutely. But I don't know, balance. Sharing is a good way to connect with others, but again, you still also need to make sure you have some stuff for yourself. Skip sympathize, which was day 22. Sympathy and empathy are different. Sympathy is, I guess, kind of feeling sorry for a person. Empathy is being able to put yourself in their shoes. I don't necessarily think sympathy is bad. I think people who give sympathy and express sympathy don't usually have bad intention. It can be difficult to express empathy sometimes and understand where other people are coming from, especially if it's completely out of your zone. I'm not trying to boycott sympathy because it doesn't have bad intent most of the time. I also skipped day 23 was support. I'm skipping that one, don't really feel like talking about it. Day 24 doesn't really have anything to do with anything. I just kind of talked about my day with that one. There's not really much to go off of it, but on that day I did some makeup. That's really all there is to it. So here's the picture, here's the makeup that inspired said picture. That's that. Anxiety probably contributes to it a lot, but my imagination is pretty active. I like to daydream. I'll sometimes just sit there and look out, or just even stare at a wall and just think about shit. It can be good to just let your thoughts go woo. In this case, I thought of it as seeing some of my daydreams as less of dreams and things that I'm going to make a reality. Skip day 26, which was beginning. Don't have much to say about that. This is another day where I wasn't feeling particularly inspired. Kind of just went off the quote, trust the process. What does that mean? Some people believe in trusting the process, and everyone has their own different belief systems. But for me personally, I'm like, the fuck is the process? Huh? The way you go about life can be fucking confusing as hell, and if you believe in a process, then you do you. If you don't believe in a process, then you do you. Do whatever is going to make you feel better. I like to think a lot. My brain can be very, very thinky sometimes, and it just will not stop. There are absolutely times when they can be so fucking negative and terrible, and they make me feel like shit. And they make me believe that I am a fucking terrible, shitty, awful person. The thing is, their thoughts. Especially with, having depression and anxiety, I need to understand sometimes. I have this stuff going on, and that can affect how I think. That can affect my cognitions. I guess especially in this case, how I'm seeing myself and how I'm thinking about myself. I will just mainly see this negative stuff and not really see positive stuff. And because I'm only seeing that negative stuff, I get the idea in my head that that's what I am. That's not the case though. I am not just all this negative shit. I'm not all these negative experiences. I'm just me. Yeah, I do have these negative thoughts. I do have these negative experiences, but it doesn't make me me. I make me me. All I'm trying to say is I am not my thoughts. The things that I think I am are not necessarily the things that I am. Sometimes thoughts can feel a lot bigger than you, but if they're just your thoughts, they are your thoughts, and you have the ability to change them. It can take some time to change them, especially in changing your general thinking patterns and habits, but it's still something that you can change. You can change how you think. You can change how you see yourself. You can change to see positive things. So basically what happened was there were conversations that happened, and I don't see them as bad conversations at all. It did get me into a bit of a thinky state where I was thinking about some of the ways that I have coped with my mental health in the past. There have been many bad ways that I've dealt with it. Aside from the, negative thoughts and shit, which are obviously bad, some of the ways that I've dealt with it have been through self-harm and drinking. Those things didn't make me. They were just the ways I was coping with things because in my mind, I didn't have better ways to cope. That was the only way that made sense to cope for me, and it wasn't good. In a physical sense, it's not good for you. Hurting yourself isn't good. Drinking because you feel sad doesn't feel good. In considering the past month, or past 6 weeks or so, considering the situation that was happening, which was a very fucking high stress situation with a lot of emotions and a lot of stuff going on, I'm surprised that I didn't I didn't really hurt myself or drink, because that is what I would fall back onto. I can see that I've handled this situation all right, and good job, Delia. But at the same time, I'm also am I fucking bullshitting myself? I feel like I've been good with drinking. I'm not going to go too into detail with it, but it was kind of bad because, it was something I would try to hide from people, and I would just do because I'm like, fuck, I'm sad, time to drink. With hurting myself too, that would be a way I would cope with how I'm feeling, because in a way it would feel like that's how I'm getting my emotions out. Sometimes I'd feel like that's what I deserved. I don't deserve to get hurt. I don't deserve to fucking feel like shit. I was thinking about it, and because, especially with self-harm, I've got marks on myself that show me that I have done that. I don't like them. I don't like that that's the stuff that I've done, but I can look at it and be like, okay, well, I don't want to do that again. The way I see it is, looking back at it, I don't want that to be stuff that I rely on. I don't want that to be my coping methods. I want to have better coping methods, and that's why I've been finding better coping methods and being better with stuff. I'm losing my voice too much talking. I'm not used to it. I see it as motivating because I don't want to be that thing. So because I don't want to be that thing, I'm motivated to be something else, something better. And that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I'm going to be. If I'm honest, it's day 30 right now. I'm just kind of gonna bring it full circle. I've been taking what I call Delia days and just doing my own thing. And that to me is important. It's important to focus on your well-being and take you days. And then day 31 is skeleton. I don't really know if there'd be much I can say for that. But essentially that was my 31 days of Thinktober. If you did get to this end point, thank you. This was a very long video, I'm so sorry. Final thoughts on it is, I think it was, especially considering the things that I had going on, I think it was a good time to be doing it. It helped me. In a way, it was definitely a coping method and a way to express how I was feeling throughout this month, which was a lot. Thanks for watching anyway. Yeah, bye-bye.